I'm just gonna straight up say, this is an amazing film, and it's nice to see Andrew Garfield continuing his superhero roles. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, and this is my review of Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge tells the grossly unknown yet legendary account of Desmond Doss's life as he enlists to serve in the US Army in World War II. What follows is a beautiful narrative which focuses on who he was as a person, as well as the early conflicts surrounding his controversial refusal to bear arms in war, and his heroic actions which would lead him to obtaining a Medal of Honor. In the film, Desmond Doss is played tremendously charismatically by Andrew Garfield, and throughout the film he's portrayed as an unbelievably respectable man. He is shown as a very kind, a very moral, and above all else, a very brave man. Basically, he manages to make us all look like assholes. With his strong beliefs against any form of violence, Doss still feels the responsibility to serve for his country, if not from the very simple fact that he's capable of doing so. So he soon decides that instead of killing in the war, he will go to save as many lives as he possibly can. Early in the film, this brings up debate. His refusal to even touch a gun or harm anybody, even in war, is obviously quite an unconventional approach. And because of this, the troops around him have difficulty trusting him with their lives, and so they're inherently against him. His reputation and the relationships between he and the other soldiers is a very interesting aspect of the film. The conflicts between them are understandable. You can see why some would not have been okay with Doss's choices, even though it's infuriating that they won't give him a chance. However, just because you can see their sides doesn't mean that everybody is always portrayed as perfect heroes. Some of the soldiers are just complete assholes, especially in regards to the way that they treat Doss. This is a much more realistic approach than some other war films take. Here we get human beings who are all complex in their own rights. Speaking of the soldiers' conflicts, this also brings up a relevant point. Hacksaw Ridge develops its characters realistically, and as we learn who they are, they grow on us. It's here where the film presents us with a strong sense of camaraderie between the soldiers, and this makes for extremely emotive scenes throughout. Seriously though, this movie made me want to cry like 6 times, give or take. Hacksaw Ridge is an emotional character piece, and it does a fantastic job of portraying and humanizing the characters that we meet. The film expertly takes a close-up look on the men who fight in war, and this is obviously quite a common theme, especially in war films, but it's the delivery that makes films like Hacksaw Ridge special. The film consistently comes off as down to earth, even if at times Hacksaw Ridge could be just a tad bit dramatized. And this is just about the only flaw that I can possibly think of when it comes to this movie, and at that it's laughably minimal. There were just a few scenes here and there which could come off a little bit unrealistic and silly, though admittedly I actually personally like these scenes anyway. Yeah, they were a little bit corny, but in the end they worked anyway, and this was probably due to the strong performances. There was not one bad performance in this movie. Andrew Garfield is ridiculously likable, as is his chemistry with the love interest played by Teresa Palmer. Hugo Weaving is at times horrible and at times sympathetic, and this guy Luke Bracey does a fantastic job of playing somebody that you hate. Most notably though, this is the perfect role for Vince Vaughn. Now there are some mixed opinions on this guy. I personally like him quite a lot, but either way, Vaughn undeniably proves that he has some talent behind him in this. Hacksaw Ridge allows him to show off an acting range that we haven't quite seen from him before, and we get much more of a serious and toned down performance than we're used to seeing from him. In Hacksaw Ridge, he's not a fast talking businessman, he's not a fast talking lazy guy, and he's not a fast talking Santa's brother. Instead, in Hacksaw Ridge, we get a real human being. And I'd say that this is easily Vince Vaughn's best role. Through these performances, the film manages to deliver some comedic moments. But what's great about these moments is that they never really compromise the tone of the film. The film was sometimes able to have a sense of humor about itself, and I found this particularly admirable for such a fundamentally serious film. When Hacksaw Ridge shows the complete opposite of humor though, it's just that much more effective. The movie's second half is predominantly based around the battlegrounds. It's moments like these which I wouldn't exactly call pleasant to watch, but it is fantastic filmmaking. Hacksaw Ridge could be vividly disturbing when it wanted to be, with much use of visible gore like arms being torn off and men getting blown to pieces and any other sorts of violence that you would expect in a war film. They happen here and they're shown with great impact. The general atmosphere surrounding the battlegrounds is also respectably deep. Hacksaw Ridge puts the camera right in the middle of everything and demonstrates how disorientating and frightening something as horrendous as war can can be. This is certainly not a film which glorifies the act of war. In the end, Hacksaw Ridge is quite an amazing film. It's an emotionally impactful film which personally had me immensely gripped throughout. This is definitely a movie worth looking out for. Hacksaw Ridge is easily one of my favourite war films already, and it will most likely quickly ease its way into my top 10 list of the year. I would rate Hacksaw Ridge a perfect 10 out of 10. So let me know what you thought about the movie, let me know what you thought about this review, and like and comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. This is a good ending.